making a coffee. So just finished cleaning up some dishes. Oh, I should turn on the dishwasher, right? Before I forget. Hang on, let me do that. Good husband. All right. So, having a cup of coffee this morning, watching Morning Joe. That's kind of daily ritual for me. Like the show. So they opened the show today with J.D. Vance talking about how the deep state got Richard Nixon, and if Richard Nixon were president today, what happened to Richard Nixon wouldn't have happened. The statement was ridiculous, of course, and certainly, very provocative, and Joe Scarborough was, right on point to just dig right into it. And they had a bunch of people on the show who were going to talk about it. And I'm sure if you watch the news today, it's going to be talked about by a lot of people because that statement, is a pretty controversial thing to say. But that's not why he said it. He didn't say it because it needed to be said right now. He didn't say it because it was a purposeful introduction to some policy that the Trump administration wants to pursue. What he did, if you really think about sort of what it stands for, and just take a step back. I believe Joe Scarborough said that today. Take a step back. Take a step back and look at what he did today, and how it relates to what he's been doing for the past couple of weeks. What he's been doing for the past couple of weeks is showing the world that he's a terrible negotiator, failing miserably to secure any kind of cooperation agreement with Iran, and bragging about this memo deal, whatever, that they claim, is their peace deal. And, Iran is blowing up ships this morning. And we're unfreezing assets, and we're, unsanctioning. That's a whole other discussion I don't want to dig into, but what I do want to say is the fact that they're doing those things and the result is Iran blowing up ships is just a spectacularly obvious example of their ineptitude. It's often easy to get into the he said, she said, right? You could say, oh, Obama's deal was terrible and Trump's deal is good, and argue that all day long. But what you cannot argue is they said we had a peace deal last week and they're blowing up ships today. And they want everyone talking about something else. So J.D. Vance gets on the whatever he got on and says what he said about Watergate, because that's what you learn at Trump University. You learn how to be a con man. And I would say today, J.D. Vance showed the world that he studied well at Trump University and he is ready to be the con man in chief. I'd say that's kind of my takeaway from what he accomplished today in getting everybody off topic. But I also want to just kind of respond to J.D. Vance because what he was saying was that the deep state, the administration basically, when they say the deep state, the administration is out to take out the good guys. Nixon was a good guy. Trump is a good guy. The deep state, they're bad guys. They want to take out the good guys. It's just such nonsense. But whatever. Let's just look at what the deep state was. The deep state was the government. In the government, in order for the government to meaningfully challenge the president, you need two things: Democrats and Republicans. And when Richard Nixon was president, both of those parties cared about the law. And the reason that Richard Nixon resigned was because the Republicans in power at the time told him that if he didn't resign, because he broke the law, they were going to impeach him. He was probably going to get prosecuted, probably put in jail. If the entire legal process had been pursued, Richard Nixon would have gone to jail. Gerald Ford avoided all of that by pardoning him. I'm not going to say that wasn't a good thing. We should move forward and blah, blah, blah. We can have that discussion too if you want. But let's juxtapose that against today and compare what J.D. Vance said to reality. What J.D. Vance said is true. If Richard Nixon were president today and Watergate had happened today, he'd still be president. But not because of the deep state. Because the Republicans in government have no fucking spine. They don't take on Trump in any way. And I'll say this too. Hats off to Tom Massey for, basically getting killed in battle. I mean, that's what war heroes do, right? They take the bullet because they're defending our country. But the entire Republican Party right now, they're defending their jobs. I'm not actually sure what they're defending, to be truthful, but let's stay on target here. What J.D. Vance said, and everybody who's talking about it today, they are shifting the conversation. Do not lose sight of the fact that the completely incompetent Trump administration is bumbling Iran daily, and prices are going up, and people are losing jobs, and farms are going bankrupt because of these idiots. Peace deal last week. Ships getting bombed this week. That's a really tightened window where arguing about who said what and what it meant is impossible to really step around. Some of Trump's very, very, very low-level supporters who give him a lot of slack, they see shit like that. They got to change the topic, and that's what this was about. All right, you guys.